Hi guys, welcome back. I'm here with another video for you guys, and this time it's the crowd favorite, everyone's favorite, Mikhail Tal versus Viktor Korchnoi from the USSR 1958 Championship. Now, the rivalry between Mikhail Tal and Viktor Korchnoi is very well known because one was a very crazy, fierce attacker, whereas the other was immaculate defender who used to defend crazy positions. But now Viktor Korchnoi was actually able to dismantle Tal's attacks most of the time and actually had a plus score against him. And also he argued that he had actually figured out Tal's style of attack and would beat him always. So let's see why Viktor Korchnoi used to feel that way with this game between the two from the USSR Championship. So this game went with e4 from Tal's side, e6 from Viktor Korchnoi, it is the French defense, d4 and d5. So after this there are lots of moves like advanced French with the move like e5. You can also take and play the exchange French, but Tal here goes with the move knight to c4, that is known as the Paulson variation, which actually invites this move of bishop to b4. Now you can see that this bishop pins this knight, and this is the beginning of the Winawer variation of the French. Now in this position, Mikhail Tal actually advances his pawn and takes the full space in the center, and we have this move of c5 from Viktor Korchnoi pressuring the center, and this move of a3 wherein after takes and takes, Mikhail Tal after this knight moves to the e7 square. You can already see that this king side is weak, so he plays this move of queen to g4, putting pressure on this g7 pawn. Now some of the known moves in this position are either to play your queen to c7 or just castle, but you can already see that Mikhail Tal's pieces are may future in this bishop also will point here, and all of his pieces will point towards the king side, and you don't want to face such a position against Mikhail Tal himself. So rather than going for that crazy variation, Viktor Korchnoi plays the simple move of knight to f5. You can now see that this knight is defending this pawn, so Mikhail Tal just goes and attacks it, but we have this move of h5 from Viktor Korchnoi attacking this queen. Now you can see that this queen does not have lot of squares for itself, so it goes to the h3 square, and Viktor Korchnoi decides to take here, and Mikhail Tal in turn plays this move of knight to f3. Now Mikhail Tal could have also decided to capture, after which the knight would have taken, but this position Mikhail Tal did not like for himself, because after a move like knight to f3 everything is probably getting exchanged. Also Viktor Korchnoi can play a move like knight to c6 and have a very good position. So Mikhail Tal never liked simple positions, so he decided to play the move knight to f3, and we have queen to c7 from Viktor Korchnoi, and you can see that it is putting pressure on the c3 pawn, attacking this king and this rook, which would be deadly. So Mikhail Tal sees that and plays rook to b1, and we have takes from Viktor Korchnoi. Now taking with the queen is not advised because bishop can just block and you would have to go back. So in turn we have this move d takes c3 from Viktor Korchnoi, and Mikhail Tal plays this cool looking move of g4. Now you can see that you can't take here because that would just blunder an entire rook. So knight has to actually go back, and Mikhail Tal actually decides to take the pawn back, and now the material is equal with slight advantage for let's say black, because this queen is very dangerously placed. So Viktor Korchnoi plays knight to c6, and we have bishop to f4 from Mikhail Tal, because you can see that this move actually put pressure on this pawn, and Mikhail Tal is just defending it. But now we have knight to g6 from Viktor Korchnoi. You can see that a few moves back Mikhail Tal took advantage of this pin, and now after a couple of moves later Viktor Korchnoi is now taking advantage of this pin. It's like this pin is there both ways. Now of course I can't take your knight because the queen would be hanging, so Mikhail Tal just retreats with his bishop, because also the bishop was attacked here. Now Viktor Korchnoi just decides to snatch the pawn, because that's what Viktor Korchnoi does. He just grabs the pawn whatever the opponents give him, and then he puts a strong defense with his pieces, and eventually manages to win the game. So let's see how Mikhail Tal handles this. He decides to first take, and after takes you can clearly see that now this knight is pinned to the queen, but Viktor Korchnoi is in not much trouble here, because you can already see that there is no piece that can put immediate pressure on this immediately, because neither can this rook put pressure on this, neither can this rook put immediately put pressure, neither this queen can put pressure on this knight, and anyway the bishop is light square, so it can't attack the knight. So Viktor Korchnoi understands that, and now Mikhail Tal plays this move of knight to f1. Now that move is actually very good from Mikhail Tal, because in this position you can already see that the knight is threatening all sorts of checks that the white king could come under. So Mikhail Tal actually plays this move of king to f1, because maybe he does not like castles here, because I can again play this move of knight to f3, and let's say you play a move like this, then I can already play something like e5, and you can see that you are attacking my knight, but I have sneakily attacking your queen. So this would be very good with these central pawns for Viktor Korchnoi. So Tal of course does not want that, so he instead plays this move of king to f1, and now we have bishop to d7 from Viktor Korchnoi, allowing Viktor Korchnoi to castle on both sides of the board. Also the bishop could get here and protect the pawn on b2. So we now have actually queen to h4 from Mikhail Tal, because maybe Mikhail Tal was worried that his queen is on this diagonal against this bishop, so he just gets the queen away from that diagonal. But now this is actually a very big mistake from Mikhail Tal, I would say, because in this position Viktor Korchnoi could actually play this move of knight to f1, knight to f3, that was very dreaded, because you can see that yes, you are attacking my queen, but I am also attacking your queen. So let's say if you decide to take here, I will take back, and you can already see that I am 2 pawns up, and you don't have much of a counter play. You can even let's say take here, but still it would be better for Viktor Korchnoi after a move like, let's say, bishop to c6, wherein your rook would have to retreat and I would be still pawn up. So that would have been very great. And also you can't just ignore this knight here and let's say move your queen, because I am also threatening this knight to d2 move, which would fork your rook and your queen. So that was actually very good for Viktor Korchnoi, but Viktor Korchnoi actually does not manage to find that over the board. Maybe he did not like the resulting position that was after, let's say, this and let's say takes and takes. Maybe he was not so much sure of this position, so let's say maybe he did not play that. I don't know the exact reason, but after Viktor Korchnoi did not manage to find that move, he instead played this move of f6, and we have takes from Mikhail Tal and takes from Viktor Korchnoi as well. So after this you can already see that yes, Viktor Korchnoi is up 2 pieces, but Mikhail Tal actually grabs one of the pieces, and Viktor Korchnoi asks Mikhail Tal to exchange one pair of rooks. Now actually you have to exchange here, because let's say if you decide to take here, then you can already see that there is lot of pressure along these lines, wherein you would be under very much pressure, because you can see that this look is misplaced and your king is very weak. After a move like, let's say, king to d8, getting away from these checks, it would be actually Viktor Korchnoi who would be better in this position thanks to his pieces. So Mikhail Tal actually decides to trade here, and we have takes from Viktor Korchnoi, and Mikhail Tal now plays this plays in his style, attacking this g pawn, creating some chance of an attack. Viktor Korchnoi just plays this calm move of king to f8, now defending this and saying Mikhail Tal that he has no attack on the king side. But now Mikhail Tal, the known attacker that he is, plays this move of king to g1 completely in the spirit of his game, because now you can see that there is no very good way to defend this pawn, because let's say if you decide to defend with your rook here, after a move like this, it is already, you can see that it is not very great for you. So we don't have that, and instead in this position Viktor Korchnoi again finds one of the brilliant move of this game, that is the move g4. Now this, later on we have some fireworks in the game, but for me this move was actually one of the game defining moves of this game, because let's say after you take, you can see that after Viktor Korchnoi played the move king to g7, there is no attack on this king, because this pawn is acting as a shield. Your own pawn is providing a very nice shelter to this king. This is a very nice concept that you should keep in mind, that your opponent can take your pawns, but the opponent can't take his own pawns. So this pawn actually acts as a very good shield for you and helps you defend, because this is like an unbreakable shield in front of the king. So Viktor Korchnoi of course sees that now he is, even though he is materially equal, he has this very nice central pawns which will create play for him, and Mikhail Tal absolutely has no attack on the king side. So Mikhail Tal desperately wants to create an attack with the move h4, and we have this move of a5 from Viktor Korchnoi. Now he wants to fix this weakness, and this weakness which he will attack in the future. So we have rook to h3, maybe with the idea to come here or maybe to go here, and we have this check from Viktor Korchnoi, and king moves to the side, and you can already now see the advantage of the move rook to g3, because you still maintain your battery and are able to escape from the check. So the queen decides to retreat here, and the idea of this retreat is that either to play this move of e5, wherein you can create an attack on this queen, and let's say after first of all you have to make some move in this position, but let's say I just play here and you decide to move your queen, then you can already see that the central pawns are created a bit of trouble for you. So Mikhail Tal just plays first this move of h5, and Viktor Korchnoi can also play this move of e5, but he instead decided to give a check here, which is completely fine. So bishop blocks, and we have bishop to c6 from Viktor Korchnoi. So in this position Mikhail Tal actually has to exchange, so he exchanges a pair of bishops and moves his king to the side. And now we have again a very good move from Viktor Korchnoi, wherein he is now putting pressure on this pawn, which is very weak actually. And in this position a normal player would, let's say, play a move like rook to h3, which may be not very good because it's a passive, but Mikhail Tal in this position plays this move of queen to f4. Now you can already see that this is not possible, because my queen is now just getting in and your king is very weak, because let's say you can't go here because that would just result in a mate. So you would have to go here, and after a move like queen to f7, you can already see that there is no stopping of this pawn. And if you, let's say, decide to take with the rook here, that is also not possible, because that just results in a mate after queen to, let's say, again queen to c7, wherein you can see that this king is now pretty much getting mated after you play anything. Let's say if you play this, then already this is a mate after this move. So that is it is not possible to take that pawn. So Viktor Korchnoi actually offers exchange of queens in this position, because you can already see that if Mikhail Tal in this position decides to take here after it takes, you can see that these two highlighted pawns are very weak, and this strong pawn chain will surely give advantage, very huge advantage in fact, to black. So we do not have that. Mikhail Tal of course does not exchange in his queens in this position, but he makes this very beautiful looking move of h6. Now you may say that why isn't this pawn hanging? And this pawn actually in this position is hanging because Viktor Korchnoi decides to just take here, and in this position we have a Mikhail Tal, a pure Mikhail Tal move in this position. Only a daring person like Mikhail Tal can make this move, a move like this in this position, and we have the move queen takes h6. Yeah, we have queen takes h6 from Mikhail Tal himself, the only man who can play these types of moves. And Viktor Korchnoi in this position, for lack of move, decides to take here, and Mikhail Tal plays this absolutely stunning move of g7. Now you can already see that why Mikhail Tal sacrificed his queen on the h6 square. That is because now there is no one that can stop this pawn. Absolutely no one in this world can stop that pawn except for one man, and that is Viktor Korchnoi. Viktor Korchnoi actually saw all of this, that he is completely fine in this position because of the move queen takes g3. This move was simply missed by Mikhail Tal, that the queen can in turn sacrifice itself, and after, let's say, you decide to, in this position, let's say if you decide to take here, I can just take back, and you can already see that white has just 3 pawns whereas black has 5 pawns, and this would be completely winning. So in this position actually, this move of h6 was actually not a very beautiful move. It was actually a blunder of a game from Mikhail Tal, because Viktor Korchnoi just took here, and the Mikhail Tal's idea in this position was to just sacrifice his queen, and after king takes to push this pawn, he thought that no one in the world can stop this pawn, and actually nothing can stop that pawn except for this move of queen takes g3. And actually in this position Mikhail Tal resigned in the game because simply there is nothing for you to do. You have to take the queen, and then after, let's say, king takes, there is nothing to play for in this position. So that was Mikhail Tal's destruction from Viktor Korchnoi himself. Viktor Korchnoi played this game very smartly. You can see from the beginning he did not allow Mikhail Tal to gain any sort of advantage. You can see from the beginning itself when let's go to the beginning where Mikhail Tal got in with his queen, having all these ideas of bulldozing on the king side. Viktor Korchnoi calmly played this move of knight to f5, defending the g7 pawn. Then after a couple of moves where Mikhail Tal was absolutely on the back foot after Viktor Korchnoi just kept on taking pawns, he defended beautifully. And even though Mikhail Tal was creating some sort of pressure, Viktor Korchnoi just kept on taking pawns, and also he had a very good way to win in this position as well, but he missed that. But after that he kept on making good moves and did not allow Mikhail Tal to create the attack that he usually wants. And since Mikhail Tal was not able to create his attack even after a move like let's say rook to g1, Viktor Korchnoi was able to find this move of g5 except move, wherein after it takes you can just play this move of king to g7, defending everything. And now Mikhail Tal has no attack, but Viktor Korchnoi has this very beautiful central pawns, and he was able to at the end trick Mikhail Tal. And Mikhail Tal, just due to lack of attack, he tried to force things with this move of h6, but that did not work out in his favor, and he went on to lose the game. And Viktor Korchnoi proved why he is known such a good defender. So that was the game that I wanted to show you. It's always sad to see Mikhail Tal lose, but it's not a bad idea to sometimes see some good defense from other sides as well. So that was the game that I wanted to show you for this video. Until next time, I will see you in the next episode with another video, another game. Until next time, bye bye.